So I'm going to start with what we did today. And what we did today was this. So 7x equals 13. Um, you can make a story right here. And my variable is x. It's being multiplied by 7 times 7. And that gives me 63. So the inverse operation, I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides. So I'll make up my wall here. This is my left side, this is my right side. So I'm going to divide this by 7 and divide this by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times x is x. 63 divided by 7 is 9. My check, 7 times x equals 63. This x here I'm going to change, right? I'm going to put a 9. And now I'm going to check to see if the left, 7 times 9 equals 63, equals the right. So first I see which operation is being used. Then I find the inverse operation. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. After I isolate the variable by dividing, what did I divide? Dividing 7 to both sides. Last I check my answer to see if, let me cross that out, if 7x equals 63. Right? This one, well, again, I have a variable x is being divided by 25. It equals 5. The opposite, the inverse operation here, would be times 5. Okay, so make a line, left and right. So we're going to multiply this times 5 and this times 5. Sorry, times 25. Oops, times 25. I made a mistake here. So it's times 25 on both sides. So times 25 times 25. My left and my right. So 5 times 25 is 125. And this 25 and this 25, the 25 divided by 25, right? It's just 1, so that gives me just x. My check, it's x over 25 equals 5. Let's see if that's true. So over here, I'm going to put 125, right? So 125 divided by 25 equals 5. Is that true? Well, now I can take this in the calculator. 125 divided by 25 is 5. And guess what? It equals 5. So first I see the operation is which operation is being used. Then I find the inverse operation of division. The inverse operation of division is multiplication. After I isolate the variable by, what did I do to both sides? I multiplied 25 to both sides. Last I checked my answer to see if, well, in this case, 5 equals 5, right? Two t equals 20, so 2 times a number equals 20. So again, we'll make a story. My variable is t. It's being multiplied by 2, and that gives me 20. So the inverse operation, first I see which operation is being used. Then I find the inverse operation. Just 1 second. Sorry. Then I find the inverse operation, right? The inverse operation, el contrario of multiplication. And then, which means the inverse of multiplication is division, right? So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. Sorry. Division. So I'm going to make my line. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Here's my left. Here's my right. 2 divided by 2 is just t. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. After I isolate the variable, what did I do? I divide 10 to both sides, right? So let's do our check. 2t equals 20. We're going to replace this with 10. So 2 times 10 equals 20. Is that true? Well, we know it's true. 20 equals 20. Last, I check my answer to see if 20 equals 20. Got a little bit more. Here's my story. My variable is a. It's being divided by -3. Gives me -12. So first I see which operation is being used. Then I find the inverse operation of division. Right, so what's the opposite of division? It's multiplied by -3. So line here, this is my left, and here's my right. So I'm going to multiply this by -3 and multiply this by -3. The inverse operation of division is multiplication. Okay, so on the right side, -12 times -3 is +36. -3 and -3 goes away, and I'm left with a. Let's do our check. -12, so let's substitute. And over here, I'm going to put 36. So 36 divided by -3 is -12. So look, they're all okay. After I isolate my variable, after I isolate my variable by, what did I do? I multiply -3 to both sides. Last, I check my answer to see if the left equals to the right. To see if the left, and I'm going to change this, the left equals the right. Negative x, again, let's do this. It's x is my variable. It's being multiplied by -2 equals 8. So first I see which operation is being used, cuál operación. Then I find the inverse operation. Of what? The inverse of multiplication. And the inverse of multiplication is division. Divide by -2. The inverse operation of multiplication. The inverse operation of multiplication is division, yeah. After I isolate the variable, so what are we going to do here? We're going to divide by -2 and divide by -2. Here's my left and my right. So I'm going to isolate the variable. After I isolate the variable by dividing -2 to both sides, right? Last I check my answer. So I divide both sides by -2. -2 divided by -2 is +1. That's x. And 8 divided by -2 is -4. I check 2x equals 8. I'm going to take -2x, and then I'm going to replace it with -4. It's negative times a negative positive, and 2 times 4 is 8. Look. Last I checked to see if my left side equals the right side. Last one, or this one actually. It's with my variable w is being divided by -8, and that gives me 7. So going back, so oops, I forgot to write divided by -8. So what's the opposite of dividing? And we're going to be multiplying by -8. Left and right, multiply this by -8, multiply this by -8. -8 and -8 goes away. I'm left with w. And then -8 times 7 is -56. All right, so now let's go back to the original equation. 7 equals -8. Actually, it's not written like that. It's actually written like this. So we're going to substitute, and instead of w, right here's the minus, I'm going to put -56/8. So anytime you have two minus together, negative and then negative, it becomes positive, right? So negative and negative is positive, and 56 divided by 8 is 7. Look, they're equal to each other, so it's a check. Next page. So this one, you don't have to write it, okay? We have a variable k. It's being multiplied by 36, and that equals -9. So going backwards, I'm going to divide by -36. Sorry, divide by 36, not negative, sorry. So line, left and right, divide by 36, divide by 36. Cross away, k equals, and divide, if you get 9/36, we can simplify that. If you put that in your calculator, we can divide this by 9 and divide this by 9, and we get -1/4. So a little bit easier to work with that. That's my answer. Let me do a check. 36k equals -9. 36 times, and I'm going to replace this with -1/4 equals -9. So here we have 36 times -1/4, and then it's a positive times a negative, which is a negative. 36 times 1 is 36, divided by 4 is 9, so we are good. We have a variable q. It's being divided, q divided by 4. That gives me -1. Going backwards, what's the opposite of divide by 4? It's multiply by 4. So here's my line, left and right. I'm going to be times 4 times 4. That 4 and that 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times q is q. And 4 times -1 is -4. So that's my answer. My check, -1 equals q over 4. -1 equals, and then for the q, I'm going to put this value right here, -4. Well, -1, well, what's a negative divided by a positive? It's a negative. 4 divided by 4 is a 1. Okay. T over 2. Okay, so here we have variable t is being divided by 2. Get 3. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. So left and right again. We're going to multiply this by 2. Multiply this by 2. 3 times 2, 6. Over here, 2 and 2 go away. Divide. They become 1. And 1 times t is t. My check. T over 2 equals 3. So let's, over here where the letter t is, we're going to substitute with 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3, which equals 3 on the other side. So again, we are good. So that was the first part of your homework.